Truly, one of the hardest things about dealing with the inner critic and recovery from trauma so that we can move on to forgiveness is the fact that so many of the messages of the inner critic inside our head is very much unconscious to us. If you take the flow of our internal thoughts anywhere are about 20% conscious. We're aware of what they are. We hear them, we know them. But 80% of those are very much unconscious. They affect us, they get in the way, and they continue to roll as like a subroutine in a computer program that's very much outside of our awareness. Our unconscious mind hears it though, and certainly the amygdala in our brain is responding all the time to these messages, these old tapes that continue to run and tend to define who we are and what is dangerous and what is not. And they're very deep. They're oftentimes very old, going back to a time when we were young, and in a sense we were being programmed by the things we were being told over and over and over. So because of that, they took root, they took place, and they continue to affect us in ways that we're not even aware of. So the question is always, then how do I deal with something that's out of my consciousness that I didn't even know is affecting me? Two ways that we look at. First of all, to be able to know what it is that when those unconscious inner critic messages are being given to us. Whenever we have thoughts of any kind of impact to us, we have an emotional reaction to it. Even our conscious thoughts, a thought will bring us happiness, a thought will bring us boredom, a thought will bring us anger. Our emotions are always a reaction to the thoughts that we're having. And particularly when we are re-experiencing, or we have been re-triggered by something of our past that continues to try and explain who we are and how the world is and whether it's safe or not. These subroutines, these unconscious thoughts are impacting us. Now, we may not know the thought, but we will certainly know the emotion. What that means is that oftentimes we will have an emotional reaction for which there's no current situation going on or a thought that went with it. We're suddenly anxious. We're suddenly angry. We are having reactions viscerally to something, and we don't have anything that's rooted in it. We just think, well, we're just crazy, or we're making stuff up. And that's those moments when those messages, very critical to us and very demeaning to us, are firing within our brain and trying to tell us that we're bad, or that we're awful, or that the world is unsafe, or that we need to be scared. An example of that would be feeling guilty where there's no guilt, feeling hurt when nothing was really intended. It seems to be more than that. Along with that then is the emotions that are bigger than fit the situation. We might be in a situation where something will irritate us, but what we're feeling is a lot of anger on top of it. So it's a very small situation with a big emotional bang to that reaction. That tells us that we're responding to something that is outside of our consciousness, outside of our awareness, and it's affecting us. The other way to tell when these things are showing up is we catch them at down times. So oftentimes with clients, we're always looking at times when you are depressed, or when you're really hurting. What thoughts seem to be showing up? You wake up in the morning and you have a sense of dread. What kind of thoughts? What were you remembering? What were you thinking right at that moment that was causing these emotions to show up. It is trying to somehow peel back for just a moment the what was going on internally, and it's like we catch it in a rare moment, and we hear those thoughts, and we hear those reactions to things. And sometimes it's those instinctive thoughts that suddenly we're cut off in traffic, and it's the very first thought that comes rolling out there, and we think, well, that's stupid, and we tend to throw that away or try and ignore that. But yet it's that very first thought that is revealing us to ourselves. It's revealing the inner critical part of us, the critical parent that is saying things to us when we're not necessarily aware. What do we do about that? That's why I often recommend that it's really important to be able to write it down, jot it down, try and record it, try and remember it in some way, so that we have that valuable little moment when the subconscious opened up for a moment, that thought came out and was there, and suddenly we're aware of it, and we need to know what it is before we can combat it. What we're going to try and do in the next video then is to go ahead and to start talking about how do we reprogram both these conscious and unconscious inner critical thoughts so they continue to no longer cause us harm.